Okay, forgive me for this statement because it may seem super obvious, but wavy hair is not curly hair. But with the right techniques, routines and products, we can make our waves look much curlier. One of the best things about having wavy hair is how flexible it is. And that's sort of what I wanted to show in today's video by styling my hair two completely different ways in a side-by-side comparison. So on this side, I'm opting for a curlier, bouncier, more voluminous look. And then on the other side, a really simple technique that is only just really an enhancement of my natural wave pattern. I'll show you the different techniques to achieve the different looks, talk about the products I use, tips to help with frizz and how to achieve more volume on the curly side. And then also I thought we'd have a chat about kind of the pros and cons of styling your waves further away from their natural pattern and going to that slightly more curly look. So let's get into the routine. My hair is freshly washed and conditioned. I used a hydrating shampoo and a protein-based conditioner, and now I'm ready to go in with the first product, which is a leave-in conditioner. The one I reach for most often these days is Olaplex No. 5 Moisturise and Mend. I love this stuff. I feel like I go on and on about it in every video recently, but there is a good reason why. It is so hydrating, it helps reduce frizz, it leaves my hair feeling soft and healthy, it's a heat protectant, it detangles. Yeah, I love it. Now for today's routine, I need to section my hair straight down the middle, and I'm going to start on the curly side first. To achieve a curlier finish that lasts, I'm going to use multiple styling products. First, a curl cream. I love this one from Wavy. It's lightweight, yet it does actually have some hold. I also find it very hydrating, which helps with frizz. Now, I know it's really important to a lot of people to talk about fragrance. This one does have fragrance, however, they do make a fragrance-free one. I'm going to use my bounce curl brush today. This definitely helps me achieve a much curlier, defined and bouncy finish to my hair. I'm going to section in 3 parts, and I remember to use the end of the brush, which makes it so much easier. Just getting those sections up and out of the way so they don't get involved until it's their turn. So next product is gel, and I'm afraid it is another Olaplex one that I use on repeat. The frizz management with this stuff is incredible. Rake and glaze for a good distribution, plus glazing it over helps smooth frizz and flyaways. And then I'm going to brush. I have got a couple of videos on how to use the bounce curl brush, so I'll link those, but just a couple of quick tips before I speed this section up. On one of my previous videos, somebody recommended to me that working from the back to the front would be easier, and I thank that person because they are 100% right. So I would definitely recommend following their advice and working from the back forwards. I find it helps to place my hand over the top to start, just to get the tension going, and then I take that hand and prepare to sort of catch the piece, and then I just shake it a little before scrunching. Just repeat this process in sections. I also make sure that I scrunch all the hair together. That sort of helps blend it into one and it stops it from becoming piecey. And that's it, my hair is fully brush styled. If you want to add more volume and texture, you could actually take some pieces and use a different technique. For example, you could use a Denman brush to create a more spiral-like curl. I find this does add more lift, texture and volume at the root as well. But of course it will add more time to the routine. So I'll just show you how to do it, but one brush styling technique is more than enough for me. The Denman technique I use is I place the brush behind the section of hair with the handle facing upwards. Then I brush the hair through the bristles, and once you get close to the end, begin to twist the hair down the handle. Twist as you go and gently pull all the way through to create a more spiral style curl. And you could do that to as many pieces as you wanted, but let's face it, it's definitely going to take a lot more time and effort. Next product in the lineup is a foam, and I'm using Function of Beauty, the Zero Gravity Styling Mousse for wavy hair. They call it a mousse, but personally I would describe it as having a very light foam texture. I focus on the roots to begin with, and I sort of pat and shake it in to try and get some lift and volume. And then a second small amount I glaze over and scrunch into my hair. I'm not a great fan of mousses and foams, if I'm honest. I find that for my on the dry side fine waves, they can cause more frizz and texture than I ideally want. However, it is definitely the best product to create lift and volume, so it can be a bit of a trade-off. A bit of microplopping with a dry microfiber hair wrap will add more definition and even more lift. Okay, curly side styled, I'm ready to go over to the wavy side. I just used my continuous spray bottle to wet down my hair a little bit because it's dried out since I was styling the other side first. Then I'm ready for gel. So if you remember, I applied a leave-in conditioner all over at the very start, so the gel is the only other styling product I'm going to use. I glaze and smooth it over to help with frizz and flyaways, and then I just brush it through to make sure I've got a really good even coverage. Okay, this is the easiest technique ever. Basically, I just slightly shake my hair up at the root. That encourages the natural texture and wave pattern in my hair. And now all I'm going to do is lift my hair in an upwards cupping motion. It is honestly that simple and easy. No sectioning needed, just gently lifting my hair to encourage the waves. I don't even scrunch. If you struggle with frizz, try this. Don't scrunch, just lift. You get a much smoother, much less frizzy result. Okay, here's a clear side-by-side comparison now that both sides are styled with product. It's amazing to me what a difference you can already see in the results. I'm ready to diffuse. I personally have a Shark styler with a diffuser attachment, and I use it on setting 1 or 2 for heat and then usually 1 for speed. I focus on the roots and mid-lengths first with the hover diffusing technique, so where you're just holding it away from your head just to start to encourage your hair to dry. This will be the only diffusing technique I'll use for the natural wavy side, but there are different methods you can use during the drying stage to create lift and volume, so let me go through some of those options. To achieve root lift today, I'm actually going to use the bounce curl clips, but these are best used once your hair is drier, so I'll come back to those a bit later. A really simple option is just to use your fingers. You separate your hair with your fingertips and pull it upwards towards your parting and then hover diffuse. If you do this method, you definitely want to be on the lowest heat setting. Now, if you don't want to use your fingers, you could create exactly the same result with a wide tooth comb instead. Or claw grips work really well if you want to be hands-free. I personally mostly use my fingers for this type of technique. Okay, more diffusing. Then I wanted to show you the big difference in length. It's getting more significant as my hair dries. It's kind of handy that I'm wearing that stripy jumper. Okay, let's talk volume diffusing techniques. First up, pixie diffusing. To do this, turn off your diffuser and then take a section of hair and place it gently into the diffuser head. Once the hair is in place, turn the diffuser back on and hold it like this. I always make sure that the heat setting is on its lowest when I do this technique. I also don't hold it for too long because the ends of my hair are more damaged, they have more bleach, so I don't like them to have direct, albeit low, heat for too long. Now turn off the diffuser and remove, and straight away I think you can see it's created more lift and more curl, and then just take another section and repeat. The pixie diffusing technique definitely creates lift and definition and volume, but it is also, in my opinion, a bit of a faff. All that turning the diffuser on and off is just kind of time consuming. Plus, it can also create some slightly squiffy curls, shall we call them, and that's from where they sit and dry in that diffuser bowl. So, enter an alternative technique, cupping. You just do this with your hands and there is no need to turn the diffuser on and off. Just gently lift your curls and waves upwards. Don't scrunch because that could potentially create frizz. Just lift and let the diffuser dry them. It will definitely help with volume, but perhaps just a little bit less than if you bothered to pixie diffuse. But then you also don't get the squiffy curls either. So pros and cons, you just have to decide what works best for you.
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
I did some more pixie diffusing on the curly side, and now take a look at the difference in length. I mean, blimey. I just carry on with these volumizing methods on the curly side. Fingers lifting up at the root, pixie diffusing and cupping, and I just hover diffused on the wavy side. My hair is now about 70% dry, so I'm going to use those bounce curl clips that I mentioned earlier. Starting at the back, I take a smallish section of hair and pinch it in an upwards motion. I then simply use the clip to hold it in place. I don't want too much lift, so you can create as much or as little height as you prefer. I try my best to get the clip in place in one go. The more you clip and unclip and redo, the more likely you're going to get frizz. Nice and easy to use, job done. I really want my hair to be as dry as possible before I scrunch out the crunch, so I continue to hover diffuse on the wavy side and use the other techniques on the curly side. Okay, diffusing finally done. Gently remove the clips. Yeah, look at that lovely root lift. Let's scrunch out the crunch. Olaplex bonding oil is my absolute favourite for this. A couple of drops, I smooth it over, I shake out the roots to break things up a little bit, and then I'll use different techniques. So on the wavy side, just really scrunching and shaking, but on the curly side, I tend to do a little bit more scrunching and even some clapping. Just pick the technique that you prefer, really. While I'm doing this bit, I just wanted to say that I absolutely love having wavy hair because of all the ways that you can style it. But for me, there are some cons to styling in a more curly way. First, time and effort. It definitely takes longer and requires more tools and energy to achieve that curly look. Number two, definitely more product. And I don't like the feeling of product in my hair. I prefer my hair to feel soft to the touch, and that is not what's happening when I've got curl creams, leave-ins, mousses and gels layered on top of one another. And finally, number three is how long it lasts. When you've styled further away from your natural pattern, it's just never going to look as good for as long. The curls can get squished or stretched out overnight, even if you're using a scarf or bonnet protection. So if you find your hairstyle isn't lasting, you may want to rethink your routine. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of the curlier side. It makes me feel like I have much thicker hair than I actually do. I'm just not crazy about the feel of my hair or how long this routine would take me. Okay, here we go. What do you think? Do you have a favourite side? I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments. I actually love them both in looks, but I just find the wavy side more touchable and I can definitely get more days of it looking lovely. I also think it is slightly less frizzy. One last length comparison. Yeah, blimey, still a big difference. If I had to pick a favourite look for my hair, it would actually be neither of these. You'd find my favourite in this video, which is my updated and simplified wavy hair routine. Thank you so much for watching today. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.